Benchwarmers, a WOSO podcast, episode 29. The UWCL, we had the quarterfinals, we had the first legs of each game, some exciting results, some relatively expected results, maybe not the process in how, and some results that just make us question why we even gas up certain teams. But we will get to those games eventually, but we will start with a 31-game unbeaten streak getting sloshed. Absolutely smashed by Stefan Lerch as Lerch's Wolfsburg took on Giraldez's Lyon and did the business with the one and only LB, not Lucy Bronze, Lineth Bierenstein, a 1-0 victory, a very good goal. I mean, obviously a bit of luck, a bit of bounce, that's fine. I don't care how it goes in because the reality was that the move was great. Enderman was absolutely terrorizing Ash Lawrence. Holy crap. Like they full on went, we know where your Achilles heel is, and we pressed the living crap out of your Canadian fullback, and she could not handle it. And then played that ball to LB. She got good separation, and Egarola gives it a perfect deflection that wrong foot's Enla to get the goal. I think that Lyon were relatively underwhelming. I think there were some players who definitely tried to get back in this game. Namely, I would say Salma Basha was the big one who was like really trying to like edge things forward on that left side, really trying to take on the right side of the pitch. But ultimately it wasn't meant to be, as players like Temwa Chawinga had a moment, that strike that hit Camilla Coover's arm. I've been a referee for 11 years. I don't think I understand what happened. I understand her arms were behind her back. It still hit her arm. It has hit her arm to the side of her body. The ball is going in if she doesn't have that arm there. I guess it's natural position, but ultimately it's either magnificent defending or a missed penalty. But the reality is I think it's a good defensive play from Coover, and I mean, we've given Coover enough plaudits on this podcast. She is just going to be Germany's. I think it's her and Kanak at the moment. That's the back two. But I just don't think this was how Lyon saw this leg going. I think they took it for granted. That 3-1 in the group stages at the Volkswagen Stadium. I think they just kind of thought they could walk all over them, especially after the Juve game with VFL, where they gave them a run for their money. But it was pretty impressive. Svenja Huth absolutely ripping Basher apart at points in this game. I think Pedamors was great. I think Bierenstein probably could have had a brace with that header. It's exciting to know that they are gettable, and there is now game footage of them being on the back foot, them not having the ability to stop certain pressing. If you press hard enough and you move the ball fast enough, you can slow it down once you get to the 18-yard box because they have to set up their defense. But as long as you press hard and high, the Giraldez system has some leaky, malfunctioning bugs in it.
I think that Lyon put all their eggs in one basket, and that basket was final third pressure. So when they were caught out, it was pretty obvious that Wolfsburg were going to capitalize. I think if we're looking at just the stats alone, Lyon should have scored. They had around 19 shots to Wolfsburg's 7. So it's not like this was a completely even match in terms of final third product.
But where were the shots from? They weren't great.
And that's what I was about to say, because they were coming from players where they were either completely outside of their remit in terms of on the pitch, or they were coming from shoddy one-touch hits because they just desperately needed a goal. And that right-hand side for me, for Lyon, looks incredibly poor, to the point where there is such an inability to even link up. There were moments where Dumornay was trying to pass it to Diani, and Diani stopped and then was trying to run back onto the ball. It just wasn't good football ultimately, and I think that was the difference. Wolfsburg tried to play very good football. They didn't just shut out after the first goal, and Lyon played pretty poorly.
Diani may be the worst world-class player in the world. She's actually so frustrating to watch. I watch her and I'm just
have you watched Stina Blackstenius recently?
No. Stina Blackstenius is masterful football. You're allowed to get away with that level of coordination in the center of the park. But when you're this good, I've seen you play this well, and you're hitting the post on the edge and taking touches too close to Stina Johannes, I understand Stina Harness has a game every 6 weeks where she's just like the goals are her friend and
Yeah.
she just doesn't concede anything. But I think Chewinga, Ada, Lindsay Heaps, like working their ass off. De Mornay doesn't finish that chance, and like these are moments where you just think to yourself, oh, they've put that in the score sheet before the ball's even gone in the net, and like I think they rushed this game. I do not think they will rush this game at the Groupama. It will be absolute drama in the Groupama, and I think I'm kind of excited for it because it's a moment like where German football needs to show us what it's capable of. Like this is like VFL. This isn't new. Like it's an upset, sure. Like one is a form side. They are better. They've spent more money. But this is history. Like this is pedigree. This is like when Real Madrid in the men's side beat someone, and you go, well, they've been crap all year. It's like, yeah, but they win in this competition. VFL win in this competition. This isn't like that shocking for them to do this at home. What would be more shocking is if they kept Lyon goalless at the Groupama, which I don't think has happened for a very, very, very long time. And I think there are players in Lyon that I'm going to look to and think to myself, this is your moment to announce yourself, right? Eula Brand, Marie Antoinette Katoto. When your backs are to the wall, why have you been signed? Why has Kang thought you need to be at the club? This is what you've come in for. The job is far from over. How many times do we hear Emma Hayes say that when they beat Barcelona at the Bridge? Like it's not enough. But the Lerch was just fantastic. This was Lerch beating Giraldez more than it was like Diani and Ash Lawrence being beaten by Enderman, which they were obviously, but the reality is that like there were just some like I watched Salma Basha take a corner that was out swinging in the 87th minute. Like how are you going to score a header when you're whipping a ball with a left footer on the left side away from the goal? Like Renard is standing basically on the goalkeeper. Like just decisions that were made that were questionable to say the least. And I mean that whole sentence that I've just said can directly translate to the next game we talk about, which is the iconic London Derby. I thought it was going to be a World Sevens tournament with how many injuries there were. I thought it was going to be a 7-on-7. That's how many injuries we had on both sides of the pitch. Yeah. I mean, like we had Laia Kadina in a UCLW quarterfinal. We had Annika Borba. We had, was Lexi Potter playing? Like I don't no. Like
I really was expecting her to play.
Like how did they just whip up all these players who just didn't train? Like honestly, it looked like half of them were drunk or like on like some good stuff. The magic spray. Let's put it that way. They were on some magical spray to not have trained Thursday night, not to have trained Sunday night, and then be on the park on Wednesday night.
Well, I think the same has to be said about Arsenal. I mean, it was a makeshift centre-back duo of Kadina and Lotte Wubben-Moy. And when I saw that, I was surprised because I wasn't surprised in the sense I knew that we had players injured, but I was surprised post that how we held this Chelsea team. I wouldn't say it was a defensive masterclass despite the 3-1 scoreline, because I think that the fundamental thing that I took away from this game was we are far better when we're in gear and we want to capitalize on our movements in the final third, our transitional football, all that kind of stuff. But if anything, we really need to tighten up on clearing the ball. Like it is our number one focus right now. I don't need to score. We don't need to score next game. We just need Chelsea not to score. And if anything, right now, the Arsenal that is playing looks far better in attack than they do in defense, which is so funny for me to say because Arsenal, yeah, it's ironic. But I was incredibly surprised with our first half, even more surprised with our second, because the first half was fantastic. I thought the second half was far more even, but it came away as technically that one in the second half. And you can't help but say that Stina Blackstenius is the best player in the world, and Alessia Russo is equally the best player in the world, because what they're doing now is fantastic football, linking up with our flanks as well. Chloe Kelly, I questioned her last week because I said, could she do it in a Champions League? She did it in the league, which is fantastic, but it was against West Ham. And now doing it against Chelsea, scoring, making movements on that left-hand side, I was incredibly surprised, but more so I was incredibly pleased.
I mean, yeah, it was immensely impressive. I think there was a lot to show Renee's class, at least in my opinion. I think Cadena coming off for Hines and then McCabe moving to centre back and playing absolutely, like, I mean, I don't know, getting a bit of that Catley medicine. I think you have another centre half who can just make shift, play the role, move into the position, and it's fantastic. I think Chloe Kelly was actually very impressive and has an agenda against us, clearly, because we roasted her, and then has had probably the best... I mean, to be fair, she roasted you. I said, this is what Chloe Kelly lives for. She lives for these moments. She lives for these positions. She goes in big games and decides, I'm going to turn up in the part of the year that matters, which is very Manchester City, very, like, February, blue moon rising, but now she's just doing it in red, and, like, fair enough, she's got an agenda to set when people just always counter out. She loves that when people go, oh, where has she been? Look where I am now. I've scored 5 goals in the last 3 games and I've done the business, and Stenius did the business, and I mean Russo's goal is just like, that is like, she's deliberately made that so much harder by chipping the ball up to herself and then taking that finish on. It's absolutely ridiculous. No right to score that goal in that manner. I mean, Lauren James's goal is also ridiculous, but it's also ridiculously poor defending. I don't like, how much time did you want Lauren James to have before she like it was like watching like Olympic archery when they're like holding the shot ready and you're just thinking to yourself, are you just going to let go already? And it's like, well, okay, well, no one's coming at me, so I can just be Lauren James and be Umbov and just hit the ball top left corner. And look, do I think Borba could have done better? Maybe. I don't know.
No, I don't. I think it was an out defense.
I think there is. It's a collective of poor mistakes. That clearance, whoever cleared that ball to LJ, I think it was Mido, wasn't it?
It was someone.
It was someone poor, but it was. I don't know. They only used 2 subs, but how many players did they actually have on the bench to use? So yeah,
but 2 goalkeepers.
Lexi Potter was on the bench. Lexi Potter was on the bench, so I understand how she didn't get any minutes in that game. But yeah, you guys definitely. I mean, you guys had the same size bench. You just used your bench because your bench is less injured. Yeah,
and that's where squad building has become so important. But I mean, if we go into the biggest controversy, quote unquote, of this game, the VAR or as
which one? Which one?
I would say that
which one's controversial to you? Yeah,
I would say that the first one is the most controversial.
I agree. I
don't think any of them are controversial.
I think Buchanan should have got a red card.
Yeah, sure.
For absolutely slicing Borba in the 90th minute out of frustration. But yeah, the second one, look, you're going. I don't see any way where that's not a goal.
No, well, I don't care. Like,
yeah, that's true. That's very true. You don't have to care.
There's so much discourse, and I just come down to the fact that, like, there is VAR there. Like, no one knows how VAR works behind the scenes. I don't care what's on your bumper story.
Oh, I hate VAR. You know this. VAR sucks.
But at the same time, it's like, okay, but it's also there, and it obviously worked because they ruled the goal either not a goal or for both times not a goal. And furthermore, look, I don't believe in karma, but I do believe in comedic justice. And I think that this is just the football gods saying, you know what, after that first WSL game, Arsenal just kind of deserve to have the refs in their favour. And at the end of the day, as an Arsenal fan, any Arsenal fan, we shouldn't be caring about what Chelsea are saying. Like, who cares?
The Steenahan Stenius one was pretty wild. I mean, the reason I thought that was wild is that they kept the play going and they called it a not goal. Like, that was the worst part, is that they tried to follow protocol with anti-protocol. That was the shambles of that. That frustrated me. It's like, bring the ball back. Let's play properly. They didn't even change the score on the goal. The commentators didn't even know they disallowed the goal, which was more funny.
I think it was a conspiracy because they showed us the goal back so many times that we as the audience watching on telly weren't seeing that it was actually a goal kick. It's all a conspiracy, Ben. I'm telling you.
100%. But I think she definitely rises to the occasion. I think it's Berman, right, who jumps up and gets that. I think she's very unlucky to not have had a goal. I don't really care. I don't like VAR. We know this is why I find it funny when we're like, oh, WSL, why don't you introduce VAR? The proof is that it doesn't find the answers anyway. It just doesn't. We don't get what you want, and then you'll complain that we have VAR, the game slows down, and you still don't get the results you want. So I mean, just tough it out. I mean, you've got an interesting leg at, I believe, is it at the Emirates or because
No,
it's a
this one was at the
UWCL?
Emirates. No,
Yeah.
this one was at the Emirates. The
Oh.
other one, yeah.
Yeah, sorry, apologies.
The notes, we put the game as
The wrong
WCL.
game.
Yeah.
Yes, okay. So this one was at the Emirates, so
Yeah.
this one will be at the Bridge, right? So the next game will be at the Bridge, which I mean, if Sonia gets into her own channels her own inner Emma Hayes, I think it will be an interesting leg, but the reality is they need a lot of players back and they need their form to shift and they need a semblance of confidence, which I don't think you can just build into it over a week, but it would be a miraculous turnaround, dare I say, red Montada, but it would be very, I mean, it would be London Bridge. The Highbury would burn up, I think, if you guys didn't win that game, but I think it would be a statement to do the double over them and actually do the triple over them and go 4 games unbeaten with them in the season to prove that your London rivals, despite having far more trophy success, are the inferior ones this season, which is what Barcelona did to their rivals not across the ponds, but across the bridge in Madrid. We spoke so much about this game in the build-up to it, saying what Real Madrid need to do to make sure this doesn't become a blowout, and it all got thrown away within, 6 minutes when Patry played that ball over the top. Alexia with that ridiculous across-the-player run. The timing of it, it's just perfect. And then the ball across to Pajor, who opens the scoring. Pajor just being in the right position at all times. Farrell Williams, watch her play football and tell me she's better. Tell me she's worse than Bunny Shaw. There's no reason why you could say that, but I say that as a City fan who will give Bunny Shaw all the presence and praise in the world. But this is a different gravy, and doing it at the top level in the quarterfinals. Vicky Lopez 6 minutes later absolutely crucifying Home Guard, putting Home Guard on a Swedish crucifix. It was murder at the highest form between Caro and Vicky on that right side, whipping the ball in. Esme, I don't know how Esme has scored here. I actually still don't understand. I've watched this goal like 4 or 5 times, and I think to myself, how has she saved it into the goal? Like, I don't understand how she saved it, and Lacroix hasn't dealt with it. It's arguably the worst way to concede, because the reality is the first goal is just class, but you could just set up shop, slow the game down for 20 minutes, cop the 1-0, and that's fine. But to let in a horrid goal like that just opens up the floodgates. But luckily, you have one of the best young talents in the world that kind of gives you the tiniest semblance of not hope, but just like admiration from us. But Athenea playing that ball to Linda Caicedo, who bodies Irina Paredes, takes it around Kadakoi, playing her second game since the surgery, but got absolutely crucified by Linda Caicedo. Whips it around her, scores the goal, and doesn't even celebrate. 2-1, trying to get back in the game. It's early on, 29th minute. Linda Caicedo's head down, chest up, no clap, no nothing, just let's go. And that's why she's the real deal. It's not the tricks and trade, it's the mentality as well, to know that this is not the time to celebrate. This is the time to get back in the game at home. We're 2-1 down at home. Let's do this. But once Irina Paredes makes a mistake, she doesn't really live on that mistake for too long, and that's what she does. She goes up the other end. We have a Pina corner, left footer on the right side. That's how you take a corner, Giraldez, and it whips in, and then Paredes absolutely brutalizes that ball into it's not really the top corner, but it's just powerful. There's nothing Misa can do about it. It's 3-1. The second half was basically showing the scariest parts of Barcelona that basically any team that comes up against them is afraid of, where you had Aicha Kamara in the centre half position, playing in Sarah Geordie, who does a fake half turn, absolutely cooks the Brits, runs through, drives past, waits as long as she can to draw in Lacroix, plays in Pajor, and once Pajor is one on one, I mean, again, just watch Pajor run and tell me there's a better striker in the world than her. She scored 2. This is her 13th El Clasico goal. She is ahead of Alexia now. I think they're actually tied with Alexia after that penalty at the end of the game. And Real Madrid have 11 goals in El Clasico. So they're still ahead. Pajor will remain ahead. And I think next week she will extend that lead because Elwa Pajor is just allergic to goals. It's what she does. It's what she's there for. That's why they got her from VFL. She's just been doing it for so long. Fella's strike wasn't good enough, too easy for Kadakoi. Caro comes on and does exactly what Caro is supposed to do off the bench. Home guard in a spliff, plays Vicky, arriving late. I mean, I think Vicky will be the 10. I think we are just waiting. We are just waiting for this mass culling of Barcelona because of the contracts, and Vicky just becomes the 10, the dream. She is the hope. She is the like. I mean, she's been 19 for how long? It's a bit absurd. But, to get 5-1, and then, I mean, Caicedo does a Marto Award nom. If it wasn't a goal that's 5-2 down, I think this would be a Marto Award goal. She's picked the ball up from 40 yards off the ball from Angadal. She's taken Irina Paredes again, and then Aicha doesn't get there gets there too late, so she hits that right foot into the top left corner. Kadakoi has no chance. And again, the mentality from LC18, claps from teammates, goes just like, vamos, let's just keep playing. That's how we act. And then Mappy pings it to Caro. Caro takes it pretty well, gives it to Sydney back to Caro, cooks home guard, cooks Dorado, and then home guard tries to come back to get some more, and then slices Caro to pieces, and that is definitely a penalty. Why not give the penalty to Pajor for a hat-trick? I don't know.
I can tell you why. I can literally tell you why. Because Alexia has scored in the previous game, she scored a penalty. She scores in this game. The next game she'll miss. It's just like Lexi law.
Yeah, but just don't do that. Just give it to Vicky. Give it to someone else. My goat needs to not miss penalties. This is a bad look. But I mean, I guess it was just a murder scene at the Estadio Di Stefano. Just too easy for them. I don't see any sort of semblance of comeback. I mean, I just see. I mean, you know what the second leg will be? It'll be like that Sweden game that this in the Nations League. I think it'll be like 2-0, 1-0, 2-0. Hold the draw, hold the line. You're not scoring at my home ground, and I think Alexia might get one. There might be a penalty. Who knows? An own goal would be a pretty icing on the cake, to be honest. But I don't see it being more than 2.
I think that you're right, but I also think that the Camp Nou factor, like it did back in 2021,
it is a killer.
It is a killer. I mean, back then it was a 8-3 aggregate in that quarterfinal.
And this would be close.
This will surpass it. I think. I think that Barcelona is so willing to score more goals. Even in this game, they looked like they were going to score more than they did. Real Madrid are just that. They are just Real Madrid, and I think that we can't undermine them, but we also just can't put gloss over what is something that has been perpetually underwhelming in women's football for the last nearly 6 years. And I think that you can bring as much optimism to the table. You can be like, this is the season, this is the game that they're gonna really shape up against Barcelona. But at the end of the day, it's completely dismissing the quality of Barcelona. And it's also saying that there is an opportunity for any team in Europe right now to be reaching the peaks that Barcelona are reaching. And I don't think that that's possible, especially in a head-to-head like this. And so Real Madrid are going to be out of this tournament. Real Madrid need to do some soul searching. We talked about this before. It's a mentality thing. Caicedo cannot carry your football team for 90 more minutes. It's so ridiculous. But Barcelona are easily the favourites, especially after that Lyon result.
I mean, I think that Pina and Pajor will go for blood at the Camp Nou because they have to catch up to Alessia, who is topping the UWCL goal scorers list this season, and they're not that far behind, and it would only take another 2 or 3 to match up with Alessia. And honestly, 2 or 3 at the Camp Nou is not bad with a packed out stadium. It will be packed out. They do pack out that stadium pretty well. In comparison to United, the Stretford end looked all right, and that was about it. But ultimately, that stadium performance was as good as they were on the pitch, and it didn't take long for Bayern to capitalise on their lack of experience in the Champions League. It didn't take them long for one of the greatest Champions League goal scorers in the competition to continue her run of form, which is insane, and that is Pernille Harder, who took about 100 seconds to get that ball from Ariana Caruso. Slots it in. This is probably the worst game I've seen Tallis Joyce play. I don't know if, we people keep saying, "Oh, she's in. She's the WSL Team of the Season goalie." I think it's very easy to say when she had a good start to the year, but I mean they're copping more goals now. I think Yama's been amazing. I think we're going to win the league, and they're going to come third. So maybe let's reevaluate. She's probably just ahead, but I just don't think she is stark in contrast the best goalkeeper in the league.
I don't think any Manchester United player, maybe bar Jess Park and Maya Letizia, are making the team of the season. People have such short-sightedness. They go from the first 10 matches of the season not realizing that the last 10 matches are the most important in any league.
100%, and this could be the downfall. This could be where Chelsea smell blood. Even Chelsea are more likely to react and bounce back to the fact that they might go out in the competition, but just go, okay, we need to finish off so we can make UWCL. But Bayern could go to the Allianz and absolutely humble the crap out of United to the point where they just gives them a culture shock, and then other teams feast on that lack of confidence. But I mean, look, you have to credit United. You have to credit United where credit is due. They did fight hard to stay in this tie, and the tie isn't over. I do think it'll be incredibly difficult to do it at the Allianz, but Leah Schuller making it a little bit easier in a possibility by perfectly kicking the ball into Vigos Dottir's hand for the penalty. Tell me that's a penalty. That's 100%. Where Maya Letizia is obviously going to be the first goal scorer at Old Trafford in their quarterfinal. Obviously that was going to be the answer to that. And then we had Tanikawa, who came off the bench, fresh off winning the Asia Cup. Unbelievable. I mean, probably deserved a semblance of an MVP for that tournament. I mean, we didn't even talk about the fact that Alana Kennedy won the player of the tournament for the Asia Cup.
I just quickly say, I said this to you after the game when we chatted. The fact that the Japanese player got the
fair player award. Hasegawa got the fair player,
and Alana Kennedy, an Australian, got the player of the match. It is so infantilizing and ill. It's these Japanese players, look at them. They clean up after they win these tournaments. There's such fair play, no yellow cards, nothing. But the real grit and the real determination, that's Australia. It's
disgusting. Also, they scored 28 goals and conceded 1. I don't understand how they can't have the MVP. It doesn't make sense. They're such a good team. But yes, they cooked, and Tanikawa didn't care about the flight, didn't care about the jet lag, and played a peach of a ball to Pernille again, who scores to sit equal 4th in the all-time UWCL top scorers, ranking only Ada Hegerberg, Mittag of Rosengard, and Eugenie Lesommer, who is only 2 goals ahead of her. So I mean, she could do it this campaign, and she is tied up with Connie Polar. Shout out to Connie P. But I mean, she will take over. She's got 48 goals. She's gonna go for ELS is 50. Ada is 65, and I think Harder's got more in her than Ada, to be honest, in terms of their outlets for scoring. So I think Harder might end up second or third in this list very quickly. But we had Hannah Lundqvist scoring a goal. I didn't have that on my bingo card. Or the idea of Vanessa Gilles getting beaten in the air by Hannah Lundqvist is insanity. Also just terribly dealt with corner. I don't know why that wasn't anything that Marmutovic wouldn't go after, but Tanikawa had to turn up for the third. What a fantastic half turn. What a fantastic strike. Low, hard, in the bottom right corner. And shout out to probably my favourite fullback right now / left-sided flank player in Franziska Kett, who just delivers beautiful peaches of a ball. She's just so consistent. I don't think I've watched Kett have a terrible game this whole season. I think she's just been a 7.5, 8 out of 10, if not higher. And and she's just been one of the most consistent players for Bayern all season. And I think that 3-2 win at Old Trafford, good to get one up at the Stretford end, and then go home to the Allianz and do the business.
I think I might have mentioned this maybe last year, maybe the end of last year, where I said that Bayern look more like Barcelona than Barcelona do in terms of a complete 90-minute performance, in terms of complete, like every single line, there is a world-class player, if not two, if not three. And I find that Bayern just have that extra in them, whether it be Pernille Harder, whether it be a Georgia Stanway, shot from 30 yards out, whether it be a Julia Gvin masterclass on the right flank. Like, this is a team that is so capable of getting to a Champions League final. It's just about when they do it and how they do it. Because I think the next leg, even though it may not be important, like they may just easily cruise past Manchester United.
Cruise past.
Crucify Manchester United.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's a lot about how they do it, how they set up for that semi-final. And for United, I think I've said this about 1,000 times, you can't rely on Maya Letitia all the time. Millie Turner didn't have a good game. Rolfo was okay, but again, it's one of those things. Do you start her? Do you super sub her? It's difficult in the left back position for her right now. And Mallard just proves to be, same as Jess Park, these big park players. They aren't scoring against the big teams, and that's going to have a consequence for United.
Yeah, the ghost of Old Trafford, the ghost of Park. But yes, I think it'll be an interesting game. And then if they come up against Barcelona again, they'll have to deal with the previous grievances of that 7-1 and push together. And hopefully they'll have Clara Bull for that tie as well. But that wraps up all we have for the Champions League. As we move to club ball, domestic ball, we'll start with the WSL. We will start with my team. City beating Spurs in a story of one half, basically. Let's just say the second half, if you looked at it in isolation, made the Spurs look like Barcelona. Well, you called your team the Arsenal before.
Because we are the Arsenal.
Yeah, they are the Spurs, and we gave them the bunny, and the bunny did the business. But it was a Barcelona-inspired blitz. Bunny got the rebound from a terrible clearance from Julie Blackstad. Basically, the one direction you don't want to clear the ball is towards Bunny Shaw. But, I mean, it's very simple that, I always say that when I was a child, I found a genie and I had two wishes, and most people ask for gold and endless riches. I asked for health, but I knew what to do, and my second one was give me Alex Greenwood's left foot too, because my God, that left foot is just dynamite. I mean, I used to say it's the best left foot in the world. It's definitely the best left foot in the defensive line, at least.
Whoa, Katie McCabe.
Yeah, and when Katie McCabe's great. I mean, she's not a centre half. I mean, neither is AG at the moment, but I still think AG was great, but it didn't stop Spence from playing a ball and a half over to probably Tottenham's player of the year at this point in Olivia Holt, who scored in the 15-minute under Chiara Keating, and I kind of thought that this game would be close, and then we did the blitz. We finally did it. AG whipped it, and then Bunny's bunstoppable header for the brace. I don't know why I wrote that, but the bunstoppable, mate. Basically, for all the youth that listen to our podcast, Tottenham are buns, and we have Bunny. Yeah, I mean, there you go. See, like, he's not even that young. See, like, I'm a teacher. I work with I'm down with the youth.
Yeah,
sure. So I know the youth say buns is bad. So yeah, Tottenham are buns, and we have buns, and buns did the bunsness. But in the 21st minute, we had Carolyn doing some isolation work, some nice moves, some Yoga Bonito playing in the background, obviously, just every time that she has the ball and you whip it in, and then Bunny Shaw. I mean, it wasn't even a great whip, but then Bunny Shaw, the header, the power, too easy. 3 goals in 20 minutes, the class, the power, the finesse, making her the second best striker in the world. She is
third.
Unbelievable. Third, yeah, sure, Bubs. How many goals can your goat score in the
How many
WSL?
Champions League does your goat have?
That's very true. I don't disagree. How many goals did your GOAT score in the run to that Champions League? Like seven?
Yeah,
Six?
amazing.
6 or 7?
Eight.
Eight. Congratulations. Pina had 12.
He
Pina
didn't
had
win that.
12.
He didn't
Yeah,
win it.
that's true. That's very true. But I mean, I'd put Pajor before Alessia. And again, it's up to interpretation. But I would say Alessia over Bunny is racism. No, I'm kidding. It's just the level of goal scorer. I think Alessia is a better player.
I think she's more clinical. I think Bunny Shaw is more clinical.
She's a more total footballer, Alessia Russo. But Bunny Shaw as the striker, the pure blood striker, she sees blood and she goes crazy, and it's scary how much we rely on her as a percentage of our goal contributions. And then AG again, after doing all the corners and all that stuff, she sets up Hempo on the left, who delays the give, waits for the best option, which is what Hempo does in her best moments. Sometimes she rushes her crosses. She tries and force the ball through, especially that happened against Villa last week. But this time she waited, and then Kero comes across the box, puts that ball side net in. Kero, 1 goal, 1 assist. Definitely underrated in her performance in this game. Probably the pick on the right side, unless you're going to put Godfrey or Olivia Holt in as your right wing for player of the season. I just don't see anyone competing with her unless Kelly keeps doing this hat trick stuff.
Beth Mead for me has also had a fantastic.
I think Beth Mead's been better in the Champions League than she has been in the WSL. To be honest,
I would. That's underestimating all those assists that she's gotten in.
Yeah, but the assists that she got. I mean, she had 4 in the first 4 weeks, and has like 7 for the season. So it's like we're nearly 20 rounds in, and like she's been great. I just think Kero's been the last 7-8 weeks has just been sublime, and then Caspi's ball to Viv is I don't know how this isn't Viv's goal. I know it hits an Ilden, but it is just a shambles of a goal, which sums up basically Tottenham's first half. That was a shambles. We were 5-1 up, and then the second half, I mean, we were dog shit. We made them look unbelievable. Beth England scored a really good goal. Kiara Keating made 5 saves. They hit the post as well, I think twice or something like that. It was ridiculous how good they were compared to us, and we did not have any killer instinct to kill out this game, which is the difference between us and a team like the top of the top, the Lyons, the Barcelonas, even the Arsenals to an extent. I don't think you would have scored 5.5, but you probably would have scored 3 in the second and 2 in the first, and like that's probably a better performance than us blitzing a team and then falling out of it. At least AJ made some subs this game. We had Sid and Laura coming on for Viv and Kero, and then we had our left backs and right backs come on. Iman Bene playing right back this game because that's her versatility, playing for Caspi, doing what she needs to do for that last 10 minutes. Uabi was okay for AG, nothing fancy. I think Sid definitely getting more minutes. Nice to see Sid on the park. I think she's definitely got a place to stay in Manchester, and I hope we do keep her. I don't know if she has ambitions elsewhere. Some players would hope to think so, but I just think, like, if you want to be a part of a team that plays Champions League next year, she'll be involved in games where we play teams that are better than us, teams that are worse than us, and we need to rotate. She'll be playing WSL, she'll be playing Champions League games against, I don't know, Twente at this point, or whoever it is, Rosengard, all the classic teams that definitely get in and need attention. We need our depth to be strong, and a player like Sydney Lohman is important to have. But I mean, I don't know if there's much to talk about this game other than to end with, I mean, every time we score 5 goals, I'll probably end with a song, but we'll see how this goes with our immense technical difficulties. But this one I've called 1, 2, 3 Core, to parody one of the great songs of all time in 1, 2, 3, 4 by Feist, but this is now going to be by Feast. This is the Bunny Feast.
Every time you mention a song, it's like it goes straight over my head. Like, when are you going to mention like a fun song?
I think most people who listen to music who isn't by the 3 artists that you listen to will know 1, 2, 3, 4. I actually think you even know 1, 2, 3, 4, but you just have not heard the song in a while, either from an Apple advertisement or something. But I'm going to see how I go with this. This is off the dome, so I've only practiced this maybe once or twice, so usually I get more time for these, but this might be a shambles, but we'll give it a go. All right. 1, 2, 3 goals, 20 minutes, Spurs were caught. Martin Ho, a tough night, trying to stop Khadija Shaw. Our title race revived after the draw. Derby days here, we'll skin a cry some more. 'Cause Barney Shaw, oh, she's breaking red hearts. Shaw, oh, you can't stop Khadija. That's all I've got for now.
So you say you
yeah.
sung that. It was beautiful. It was beautiful
Yeah,
sung.
yeah, I
I have no
appreciate it.
idea what the hell you were saying.
Okay, it's all right. I will show it for all the benchwarmers out there that do know 1, 2, 3, 4. I will show Leggy after the podcast, and I'll also show her the Apple. I think it's the iPod Touch ad that they used for 1, 2,
iPod
3,
Touch. I was
4.
like 3 years old. Like,
Yeah, I do. I do sometimes forget that Allegra's pop culture does extend to the ages where I'm like 8 or 10, but it's okay. We will move. I mean, again, when you were 5, I mean, you were still beating West Ham. To be honest, West Ham were never that team, and we will move to Arsenal at the Emirates, where Arsenal gave West Ham a proper beating.
Yeah.
Was it Rianne Skinner again? No, it was Guarino getting the absolute shellonking.
A very upset Guarino.
Fair enough. You guys, they weren't terrible in the first half. I didn't think they were that bad. It was just a second half like destruction. Again, no Gori, no Uwcl, no Asai. I mean, I don't expect them to score, but I mean, yeah, just a shambles, and had some, I wouldn't say unlikely candidates, but like different suspects to our usual suspects at Arsenal doing the business.
Well, I would say that in their best form, these are the players who I'm relying on to score goals, probably outside of Mariona, who just is allergic to goals at the moment. But I don't want to go through all the goals because it's 5 goals. I don't really like. They are fantastic goals, but
all of our Benchwarmers fans are basically Arsenal fans at this point.
Yeah,
they know Kelly scored a hat trick. They know there was a shambles.
A double.
Was it? Yeah, but it should have. It probably should have been a hat trick.
Everyone's saying it was a hat trick. No, that is taking away from Goat Stenius's whatever it was.
She didn't touch the ball.
I don't care.
She didn't touch the ball. There is no one can ever convince me that she would have celebrated like a crazy maniac, actually not like a crazy maniac. She would have celebrated like a Stina Blackstenius.
You know what's hilarious?
If she actually touched that ball. Everyone knows that Kelly got robbed of a hat trick, and you know what? No one is happier than me that she got robbed of a hat trick.
The funny thing is that she did get the ball after the game, which kind of signifies. So
exactly. So I think it was just flavor, I guess. I mean, give Steenie a goal, I guess. Get all the WSL fantasy fans happy that Stenius is doing the business. But
the problem is that if it weren't for that, whatever it was, Stina did not have like the most amazing game of football, especially
she was very good
in the final third.
I would say Stenius.
I would say, if anything, this reminded me a lot of the typical Stina Blackstenius, the one that is starting for Arsenal, the one that has 60 minutes and scores 1 goal when she probably should have 5. Yeah. And I love Stina. It's just frustrating. And it's frustrating when you know that your lot are scoring 5 goals in one half. And okay, you didn't score in the second, that's fine. But you mentioned earlier about Tottenham and about how we would distribute our goals against Tottenham. Well, earlier in the season, we had a 0-0 draw against Tottenham. And at the end of the day, like, leagues are decided, especially WSL, is decided on how many goals you're scoring just as much as your defense. And I think that that's where Cena may not have done it, but Chloe Kelly, obviously. I mean, she just shone this game. And I was not surprised because it's West Ham and I know what she can do against smaller sides, but I did feel a bit embarrassed, like after the second goal went in, I was thinking, oh my God, like I just roasted her last talk and she's doing this and it's fantastic. But I can't leave without saying that Smilla Holmberg, her first start at right back, shifted into right wing later in that
Crazy.
Amazing.
Game.
I mean,
what a baller.
She will be probably the most underrated signing in the mid-season. I don't think she'll get the best signing. I think that someone like Falk, just for what she's done at Liverpool, will. But I think Smilla Holmberg is one of those players where she is a starter. Like, she's a star. I love Emily Fox. Everyone who knows me knows I love Emily Fox. But this is a player that could
There
start
we
for
go. Tick that
so many
bingo,
teams.
guys. She mentioned it. She mentioned it. She didn't even play. Didn't even
did
bloody
play.
play. She played. She played 30 minutes. Did touch the ball. I don't know, like 10, 15 times. I want to say nothing more than that. Maybe you had a few more at the end of the game to just recall the game. But yes, Miller, Hines was great too. I mean, this whole back line was just makeshift second squad and still just worked because it doesn't really matter because Russo, Mariona, and Kim Little, who's just re-signed for another year, because ultimately, will she ever unsign? That is the question. She will play till her heart gives out on the field like Braveheart. She is Braveheart. She's the Braveheart of the WSL. The way other players talk about her, the way everyone talks about her is like she actually... It's not like we deserve more of her. It's like football deserves to give more to Kim Little. I think that's the way most people talk about her, is that football has given her so much, but actually based on how good she is it actually so little in a way? But I mean, I just find it funny that the FOP mob agenda has Chloe Kelly with 3 goals, which is so funny, and Stenius with just an assist. The tap Stenius. But I think Smithy was all right. I wouldn't say Smithy was terrible by any means. She set up a few chances. Russo doing Russo things. But I mean, I believe, I don't know if this girl has been starting, the Norwegian girl for West Ham, Elin Tenebo. She plays on the left. She's been playing in Assay's absence, but let's just say that this is untenable. This game was untenable. It was bad. Tuva Hansen was bad.
Oh, that was
horrendous.
particularly poor.
Yeah.
And it's gotten to a point where you're like, okay, well, maybe, I mean, we talked about West Ham being like the incredibly Barclays squad that they had. So funny.
I mean, this squad, we'll look at this squad in 5 years. Look at this team,
It's
like
amazing.
Semic, Cascarino, Hansen, and then, I think Wonderla will get a move at some point. Zellem, I mean, it's just such a crew. They're bringing on, to be honest, I think it's an insult that they're bringing on Fionn Morgan. I think Fionn Morgan is better than some of those.
Too good at her
in there.
TikToks for this.
And, I guess. But I mean, they also have they brought on, what's her name, the English girl, Sarah Bracero Carrera, which I've heard good things about in terms
English
of the
name.
it's hilarious. But I just like that her initials are SBC as well, which is quite funny. Maybe she can solve the squad building challenge that Rita Guarino has at the moment, to be able to field a team that isn't going to get relegated, because they're only 3 points ahead of Leicester. Luckily, for them, Villa did the business on Leicester. Despite Alicia Lehmann getting her goal, I mean, we had a Hansen masterclass. I mean, this is what Villa needed to get the game on us, is that they just needed the ball to end up in the hands of not Chastity Grant, and end up in the hands of Kendall and Hansen to get their balls over the line. Lynn Vilms with another assist, Patton with a goal as well, playing fantastically well, and Jenna Niswonger doing the business as well yet again. Does it make you feel?
No,
I mean, doesn't make you feel bad.
No, because I'm so happy for her. This is like, I feel like
But did you need Taylor Hines? Did you need her? Okay, sure. Yeah. Fine. I mean, to be fair, she is the WOSO Joe Gomez. She can just play in every spot on the field, which I do rate the versatility of. But we will skip past the around the grounds. We'll skip past that, and we'll move straight into what can only be described as an upset, as Chelsea went and played London City Lionesses, Kang number 3, and got held to a draw, and ultimately in some ways were lucky to keep it a draw, with some of the chances in the second half. LCL putting on a show, Eder Maestro fighting for his job here. He has to work well, he has to do it, or he will go. Like, that's how this works. Should I stay, or will she kick me out? That's how it works. But Chelsea looked kind of the goods in the first half. I think they were all right. I think they had some moments. I think Aggie Beaver-Jones has lost the ability to score the way she used to. I think she used to be just like a killer, and I guess she is. Maybe she just is a purple patch form player. I don't really know enough about what's going on in the strikers department. All I know is Myra Ramirez is looking Madrid bound, which is crazy, and Sam Kerr is getting links with NWSL pretty much every minute that her child grows up. Like, that's how this works. So does the burden burden to bear fall on Aggie Beaver-Jones, or do they sign someone new? Who knows? But Aggie did do a beautiful header that set up JRK, who I know will stay at Chelsea 100% because JRK is blue.
Well, we said that about Guro. We said that about Guro.
Nah, but Guro's a lot older. I think Guro is just like the end. Like, she wasn't starting. Like, JRK will start and JRK will play for them, and I think she is the one. But I do not know what. I mean, we didn't even really give Buchanan the light of day, talking about how average she was in the Champions League final matchup. But Cuthbert, JRK, like, moments of okayness, nothing entirely special, to the extent of, did I think there was another chance in this game beyond Aggie had a very good chance. I do remember Aggie having a very good chance, and Thompson had one chance, but I didn't think there was more than that. I know Cuthbert had a shot that got sprayed wide, but in the second half, I just think it was all LCL. I think LCL were the ones pushing the pace of this game. I think LCL took advantage of their counter-attacking options, and then, better yet, they took advantage of, I can't even believe I'm going to say this, their depth. Their depth off the bench did the business. Delphine Cascarino looking like she's playing the Euros again, and like running the ball up the field, taking the ball away from 3 Chelsea players. Sawi wasn't bad, but they needed to take Sawi off for Lucy Bronze and Germa just got beaten to the ball on that left side, and so did Cuthbert. Cascarino runs it out. Corrales is the outlet for I guess it was this weird sub where they'd subbed on, who did they sub off? They subbed off Van der Donk, I believe, for Corrales, and then they moved Paris centrally, and then they swapped Paris for Roda, but then you had Corrales in that like advanced left side, left flank position, very Rolfo-esque, or Esme Brutes-esque, however you want to describe it. But the shot across the box is fantastic from Corrales, and then you cause the chaos. And who better than to take it off the bench than Izzy Goodwin, the girl who I think has hit the woodwork more than anyone this entire season, gets a goal against Chelsea at home to send the LCL fans of Bromley Park into limbo. I think this was a crazy moment for them. This is probably their best moment of their season, and like it puts them in, like, I mean, again, they're the middle of the pack. They're 7th place. They've got Everton to take over. I don't think they'll get near Tottenham, but if they finish top of the pack, they should be very happy, and they should be very happy taking one point at the Den away from Chelsea as well.
So this was, I believe, the youngest lineup for Chelsea this season. But that is absolutely not to justify their performance throughout the 90 minutes of this game, because player for player, whether it be Swawi, whether it be a coming back Buchanan, whether it be Lexi Potter, they have better players and they have more influential players. And across the season, we have seen Chelsea go up against sides that they should beat and haven't beaten. This is the story of this season of Chelsea, and I think this will be just another wake-up call for Sonia Bonpastor for the Chelsea management, because unfortunately for Chelsea, they have this barometer, they have this level that they knew was going to be incapable of matching every single season, but they did it for 6-7 seasons, and now push has come to shove, they're dropping points, they're dropping vital points if they want to even be in contention for Champions League football. And a team like London City, we don't expect anything from London City. So for them to get a goal back,
the memes, really.
That's it, really. And to get a goal back, to actually push on for a second goal versus whatever Chelsea were doing, whatever Lauren James was doing, being very lax in front of goal, that is a sign of a team that saw Chelsea in a way that they see a Spurs, in a way that they see Everton, and that is ultimately gettable.
Yeah, 100%. And that's how, I mean, I always think that if you're going to rest players for the Champions League tie, you start them and then bring them off, rather than bringing on Bronze, Baltimore, Germa, Walsh, Lauren James. Maybe start them, then win the game. And this is funny. I'm talking to arguably someone who I would consider a top 5 manager in the world, who tried to, I don't know if she's overthinking at the moment. She's definitely suffered a level of head loss. Jesus, in the Arsenal game, she was losing her mind over those disallowed goals, which you just can't let happen. Like that's just not how this works. And I think, like, you saw AJ's reaction to our nil-all draw. Like, there was a semblance of ownership and accountability. Sometimes it's not like it doesn't go your way. Did you see Rene? Like Rene was a bit salty about the Stina Blackstenius handball in the first game in the WSL, but she did say we weren't good enough. We played well in the second half, but in the first half we gave them 2-0. We made them 2-0 up, and a lot of people would argue in that first leg of that UWCL semi-final that Chelsea could have been 2 up, and they just didn't take their chances well enough. And I think it comes down to management. It's not just the players putting it on the sheet. It's weird. I don't think Lucy Bronze expects to come on with 1-0 up 63 minutes in and just like, okay, hold out the game. You, Kira, Germa, hold out the game. And then you have to come up against Izzy Goodwin, feisty, hungry child who's going to work hard. You're going to come up against Delphi Cascarino, who's arguably one of the most aggressive players I've watched play football. She is so aggro. She could have easily injured any of those 5, right? Like very easily. That's what she does. She's so fast. She's so energetic off the bench. But you can only give credit to the maestro that is Eder Maestra for getting that point. And that might be an important point because it's put United in a relative stead to claw back this Champions League retaining qualification. Everton feeling ball. You know what? Nice try. You tried. You really did try. I did have this moment of like karmic relief where I was like, oh my God, it's actually done. It's over. We're going to do it. And then, I don't know. Like, we're going to do it. We, the WSL, are going to kick United out of Champions League, which is what it should have been. They spent all this money just to go back out of it. But no, it had to be my least favorite player, my least favorite team in Melvine Mallard doing the moment of the game, that 94th minute winner. I mean, that's what she does. She does turn up when it matters in ways that, I don't think she was ever going to be like the form striker of the league. I never thought she was going to be like a top goal scorer in any way. I think Liz Turland is a lot more clinical than her, but Mallard did get the plaudits for this game. I think Jess Park was a lot better. Took advantage of this flat Everton. I think Brosnan was the only one who can hold her head high. 7 saves, just Courtney Bros. You know what? I was talking about Yama. I was talking about Taylor's Choice. Give it to Courtney Brosnan at this point. I think Courtney Brosnan might be the best shot stopper in the league. But to be fair, on the other side of things, the Brighton Liverpool game have 2 goalkeepers that will also put their hands up for goalkeeper of the season. But I don't know. I think United got away with one here and will take it as a semblance of confidence into knowing that they can get things out of games and never say die. And I think having players off the bench like Schuler and bringing in Layla Drury will only help their depth, fostering for next season. If they're really serious, they are going to finish top 3. If they make top 3, I think it would be, firstly, it would just be hilarious to see Chelsea outside of the top 3. But as a whole, for United to get back-to-back qualifications, it will kind of justify all their expenditure in a way that shows that we are a serious club that's looking to stay in Europe and make a name for ourselves here.
It's so disappointing, mostly because Everton have had this fantastic run of form in the WSL. It's nearly
4 wins in a row.
4 wins in a row. It was fantastic. And at the end of the day, it just kind of came down to class. I don't think that Melvine Mallard is the best player at Manchester United. I don't even think she's a top 5 player at Manchester United.
Wow,
I just think
crazy.
I think a lot of fans, I think a lot of the media see that form from earlier in the season, and that is kind of, she's ridden the coattails of that form, which is fine, but she will come up against big moments against Everton. We talked about it earlier. She didn't do it against Bayern. She hasn't been doing it that much in the Champions League, and she's not doing it against the top sides. So, in my opinion, it's fantastic that they can all like have a massive party after an Everton game, but this is not a player. This is not a complete 90-minute performance that I'm expecting from a side hoping to get basically second, if not try and challenge for the title.
Yeah. I don't think they're challenging, and I think they know that.
I don't think so either.
I think they know that. Shout out to Inma Gabaro. I mean, can I just say, I mean, Scott Phelan, shout out to you. You've had a very good month, but like, you know, if a player starts for it doesn't start, comes on for La Roja, they're probably good. You know, like they're like if Bermudez is going, you know what, you're good enough to play for my country, then maybe you should start. I don't know. Maybe that's a thought to think about. I mean, Kelly Gago, she'll play when she wants to play. Obviously, she should be starting at some point, but maybe she can start when she wants to start, I guess. I think she should get out of there, but game's the game. Uwcl playing right back. What do you think about that? Playing in fullback, a different position for her. I think she can play in the middle, and she's got a lot of versatility. I didn't realize she's got all these positions in her, to be honest.
She can play wherever she wants. It doesn't mean that she's fantastic in those positions.
Interesting.
She was all right in this game. I think that she added momentum on that right hand side.
Yeah.
I just don't think that she is.
She's not Riviere. She's not Riviere,
but she's also just not Champions League material. So I will expect her. Millie Turner, they will play in the league games.
I don't know. I think Millie Turner was a lot of the things wrong with United in that Bayern leg. I think Pernille Harder was just playing off her shoulder and realised I could get the better of you, even though despite I don't need to play on Laetitia, I just need to play off you and do the business. I think Jess Park was a lot better in this game and got the better of Pacheco and Martina Fernandez as well. But I think that it was, I don't know, it was an interesting game. They should be very happy with a win because that goal in the 94th minute is limbs. In comparison to the 0-0 draw, Brighton v Liverpool, two teams that are the most packed WSL sides of all time, being the pack. Sadly, Liverpool aren't the pack, but they actually, if we talk about the form going into the turn of the year, I would say they are better than the pack sides. And I mean, that could have been a big game for Liverpool to actually kind of jump much closer to Brighton. I think Liverpool will be fine and be safe with the form they've got, especially with Falk in goal. Shout out to Falk, shout out to Nnadozie, both players who were absolutely unbelievable. 20 shots in this game, no goals. Falk made 3 or 4 saves. I think Nnadozie made 3 or 4 saves with one of the greatest dives, not dives for a save, but dives as in diving. I don't know if you saw that in the corner where she gets hit in the, I don't know what happened. I think Clark gave her the tiniest flick and she acted like she'd got a body shot to the liver. It was hilarious. It is box office football. That's what we're here for at Broadfield Stadium. But a 0-0 draw wraps up the WSL in a very nice tight web where, I mean, I don't know, I'm very excited for your 2 games in hand. Finally, just play them already, please. Just make this league somewhat it's not interesting until you've played your games in hand, by the way. I just want to see you on, I don't know, what are you going to be on, 41 points or I don't know, 35 still?
Thanks.
I don't know if you get 6. I don't know if you get 0. Who knows when the games are even being played? I don't even, I know there's these 3 catch-up rounds that are coming up in the WSL, which are a bit psychotic, but we'll find out.
We play on Thursday, midweek games.
Yeah. So. Oh, wow. Shout out to the Thursday night ballers right there. It'd be great. Watching Cadena on a Thursday night. Is there anything better to do? Absolutely not.